Hey guys, F26 here, and welcome back to Highlights of the F1 League. And then we are, of course, here today for the Belgian Grand Prix, round number 12 of Season 5. And after this highlights video, we'll actually have caught up with the highlights overall, which means the next race is Italy, which hopefully should be up next weekend. But yeah, we're coming to start our qualifying lap here on the soft compound tyres because the super softs last about 3 laps, so there's no point using them as we head towards Eau Rouge now. Flat out through there, maybe took too much of a wide entry, but it's very easy to lose the car, and I don't want to be doing any of that, so we've just decided to take it nice and carefully, and might lose a bit of time in Sector 1, but it's better than being in the wall. Anyway, we have gone purple through Sector 1, even though we slightly missed Apex for Lecom there, but we managed to fight it back, even though Malmedy was slightly compromised, but it shouldn't cost us too much as we head down towards Rivage now. Telling the car stop nicely down to second briefly before up to third. Luke puts in a 46.4 there, I believe, and we're now heading towards Pouon, the infamous corner. Fifth gear through there, not touching the grass, which is exactly what we want to do, just clipping the exit curb, and that is nicely done as we head down towards the Fagnes chicane now. Getting the car down into third gear before going back up to fourth. Open the car up for the second part, up to fifth briefly before down to fourth. And then shift on the exit to fifth, up to sixth briefly before down to third for the first part of Stavelo. And as you can see, we're over a tenth down on Luke at this point. So it's not looking like we're going to be getting pole this week, but we're still going to give it our all in this last sector as we now head towards Blanchimont, easily flat in these conditions and pretty much in the race. It's only when it gets wet when it's not flat. As we now head down towards the bus stop, down to first gear, up to second, down to first again, and we're taking that quite nicely actually. Try to minimise wheel spin on the exit, which we actually do quite well, and we actually pip Luke there with a 1 minute of 46.399, which did put us on provisional pole, but unfortunately Taylor the Vole, who you may remember from some AOR videos about a year ago, decided to ruin the fun and go on the super softs and get pole by nearly 4 tenths. So we're starting second, which means we've gained 1 point on Azar, which means the gap is now down to 6 points as we head into the race, which is always good. And yeah, Azar down in 4th, Pepsi 5th, Camendo 6th, Jork 7th, Lexbus 1 8th, Lion 9th, and Casey absolutely bottled his lap is down in 10th, with Hamilton Fan in 11th there, the last person to set a time. As we can see coming into the race, it is very overcast, but no rain is predicted, fully meatball, as Azar would say, so I'm sure he appreciates that if he's watching the video. I decided to change my front wing for the race because I didn't fancy 3-2, I wanted to make it 4-2, so I'd have a bit more speed in the middle sector, as you can see. And the game suggesting the 2-stop, which I'm not a big fan of, so we're going to switch that up to the 1-stop there, and take a bit more fuel out of our car before we get ready for the formation lap then. And here we are then. For the formation lap, Taylor the Vole will lead the field off, and away we go. And obviously Spa, very long track, people are going to fully take the piss by driving slowly. If you remember in Hungary, by the time I was on the grid, someone was still in Sector 1, so yeah, this could be rather interesting. I am obviously going to do it properly, and Taylor is his first race, so he doesn't know about the bants that occurs, so we'll probably be the only two actually do this properly as we now head towards Rouge. And there's a proximity error. Grumpy Line's gone there. And oh my word, Lexbox 1 has flown into Grumpy Line there and absolutely blown him up on the formation lap. They've gone flying there. And my reaction at the time was pretty similar to what I just did. So yeah, nice dying. Yeah, it was something quite interesting. But as you can see at the end of the formation lap, Jeff is telling us it's 15 minutes still like rain. So the weather forecast has lied to us, and it appears we're actually going to get some rain, so that could be a very interesting if rain does decide to appear at some point in this race. 15 minutes, so that's probably going to be around when our pit stop window would be, which means people who started on the super soft tyres are even more screwed than they would have been if it had been a dry race. So we're coming around the bus stop chicane now, and I've just realised that I've spent about 1.5 minutes talking over the formation lap in this video. And the video is only 15 minutes long, so that might say something about this race. But yep, we'll have to wait and see. We're putting up onto our grid slot now, and we now have the lights. We have 3 lights now. They have 4, and it's 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. We've got a decent start there, similar to Taylor, who's on the faster tyres. So we look into La Source now. We're going to leave him the inside lane. We've got a Red Bull upper inside, that's Luke. He's got a slightly better start from third on the grid. And I'm going to go side by side towards Eau Rouge, but I think he's going to back out of that one. And indeed he does. No point fighting that as we now head through Eau Rouge there. We've got a very good run. Taylor's lost the back end a bit on the top. Through Radion, and we've got the lead here on lap 1, and that is exactly what I wanted. I knew starting second wasn't really a bad thing around this track, and we've made it work, and we're up into the lead here. Yellow flag is James F1 etc, and Hamilton fan have crashed at the back, I believe. Don't quote me on that though. But yeah, we're into P1 here, and that is exactly what we wanted to see. Taylor, obviously on the faster tyres, is going to be faster in these first 2 laps, so we need to make sure he stays behind and that he isn't unable to pass us, but we should be all good as we head down towards P1 there, taking that actually quite nicely, even though we did clip the grass there, and we appear to have a little bit of a gap at this point. But what is key around this track on this game is the slipstream, and if you can stay within that slipstream, you are pretty much done, and if you lose the slipstream, you are screwed. So Taylor has managed to stay in the slipstream, and I'm sure he'll be passing us into the bus stop, and that would be lovely for him. But at this point I'm happy I've managed to hold him up for a lap. He's not got away, and hopefully we can slipstream him again on the run down to Le Com as we head through Blanchimont. He's pretty close in the slipstream. Obviously we're running rich, but there's not much we can do. He's going to chuck it up the inside into the bus stop there. He's gone way too deep. We're going to try and get a cutback line here to the second part of the bus stop, which we've done nicely, but he's lost the back and he's chopped us off there, so that's good driving, and as a result we're going to lose the position to Luke. So that's unfortunate there. Obviously it is easy to lose the back end, and now we've just made a stupid move there and we've hit Luke, but luckily it didn't do any damage to either of us. It just lost me a bit of time. But yeah, I can see that it is easy to lose the back end on the exit of that chicane, so I don't really blame Taylor for it, although I was a bit annoyed at the time. Once again, Azar thinks about looking up the inside into Eau Rouge, but then backs out of it because he realised that it will result in instant death if he does. And as you can see, we're getting in a slipstream now, 225 miles an hour as we head down towards Le Com. Can we get the car stopped now? Just about. Luke's managed to run deep and cut off my line, and I'm unable to produce a Sierra Rosberg and go around the outside. Meanwhile, Taylor's absolutely binned it and has got damage there, so unfortunate for him as we skip to sector 3 now. We've lost the back end on the curb there, huge save there, but it's going to lose us a huge amount of speed. Azar's going to go flying past, as is Pepsi, I believe, as he's going to go around the outside before Blanchimont, and we're actually going to lift off from Blanchimont because I don't want to be smashing into the back of anyone as we head down towards the bus stop. Nothing to do here at the moment. Pepsi defends the inside well, and we're unable to get the move done. Can we get a good exit though? No DRS yet, but we're going to have the slipstream. Luke sets the fastest lap of the race as he's now in the lead. We set a personal best, which isn't very quick because we died on that lap. We're going to charge up the inside. That was a dive bomb. Somehow we managed to make it stick, although Pepsi is still side by side, but he will sensibly back out of that. But that is possibly one of the most stupid moves I've ever done because it's cost us both time. I'm out of Azar's DRS. I'm going to get absolutely monstered on this straight now. The camera straight down towards Le Com. We're going to go defensive, but there's not much we can do. Pepsi's easily going to go past us as we head into Le Com, and he's got past us there. We're going to try and hold it up the inside. Very close there. Maybe there was a little bit of contact, but I don't think there was. Incredibly close racing between us there, and Pepsi manages to hold that position nicely. So good job from the Sauber driver, but he is also on the super soft tyres, so he's going to have to pit to change those soon as we now head towards the corner with no name. That's a great line, and that's a warning, so we need to make sure we don't get too many of those. Meanwhile, skipping to the end of the lap, coming through Blanchimont, we're gaining a huge amount of Pepsi. We've got Lexbox 1 behind us as well as we head down towards the bus stop. We're going to have a look around the outside into the bus stop. We've got it stopped nicely. We're going to have the inside for the second part. We're going to run him deep, and he's backed out of that. There was space on the exit if he wanted it, but he didn't take it. We set a personal best of a 51.0. As you can see, we are going very quickly at the moment. We're going to have to go defensive into turn 1 from Lexbox 1, which we just about managed. We're side by side out of turn 1 for the 4th lap in a row. The Lexbox backs out, and the banter is once again going to occur. We've got 3 cars looking very hungry as we head up Eau Rouge once again, and I'm expecting to get passed by at least 2 of these. Camundo's had a poor exit out of Eau Rouge, so he might be out of the equation. Lexbox coming past Pepsi with a massive overspeed going all the way around the outside and then down the inside. We're going to go side by side, and there's contact, and we've damaged our wing, and that is absolutely disastrous. James F1 etc. goes past. Casey Legend goes past, and that was a disaster. I don't think I was at fault for that. As we can see, Let'sbox taking an interesting line to rejoin the track, and we have to slow down to avoid him. And we're going to have a look at that in slow motion now, side by side. We're still alongside here, and Let'sbox, I'm right at the edge of the track, and I don't think I was given a car's width there, but I don't know. Possibly a racing incident. We'll have to see what the stewards say about that one, as we now skip later on onto lap 6, and there's a virtual safety car now. So yeah, we're currently in a lowly P6, and with the damage, there's not much we can do. We have to hope for a full safety car, as the virtual safety car ended before we got to the pits anyway. So even if we did think about going onto the super softs until the rain came, it wasn't worth it because of the virtual safety car ending. But yeah, the gap to Casey is almost 5 seconds at this point. Absolutely nothing's happened. Skipping on to lap 9, Jeff is telling us light rain is going to be with us very shortly. As we can see, it's skipping to the end of lap 9 now. Our tyres are looking pretty worn, so hopefully the rain comes, and as I say that, the flash comes and it's starting to rain, but Jeff cannot tell us how long this rain's going to last for. Although, onto lap 10, I can confirm it's going to last for at least 15 minutes, and now we have another virtual safety car. But it hasn't got wet enough, and our tyres are nearing puncture territory, nearing the 75%, and at this point, I'm coming in, but not for the intermediates. I'm basing it on the weather forecast at the start of the race and saying that it's not going to get wet enough, and I'm going for a huge risk here to go onto the mediums until the end of the race. So slowing the car down nicely. We're going to have a wing change, so the virtual safety car's ending, so we basically gained nothing from that. But yeah, we're going to have a wing change, so if we had gained any time, which I don't think we did, we're going to lose that now. I can also confirm that James F1 etc. and Camundo pitted under the VRC. James went on to the mediums, and Camundo's actually risked it onto the inters, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out, because it is nowhere near wet enough for the inters at the moment. And we're exiting the pit lane now. Grumpy Line also going onto the inters behind, but I don't think that's the right call at this moment in time, as we now exit the pit lane now, getting on the power, and we're in P7 now, but Taylor still needs to make another pit stop. And skipping on to lap number 12, I believe, and we've caught up to Camundo on the inters, which clearly aren't working for him. He's unbelievably slow here, and we're just going to go around the outside into Stavolo. Casey has come into the pits, but I don't think the gap is big enough, as he has been decreased at all. As you can see, it's 5.2 seconds. So, yeah, we haven't really gained anything on Casey from pitting under the VSC, but the question is, do we have the pace now to close him down? As we get to the end of lap 13, a personal best of an absolute banger of a 50.8 in these conditions. That just shows how slow I was in the first stint with all that battling. As Taylor's now coming to the pits for a set of softs to take to the end. So we're now, in miraculous circumstances, up into P5 again. So maybe I can salvage something from this race, as we now skip a few laps later into Rouge. And as you can see, James F1 etc.'s car's in the wall there. He's done a K-Mag. Grumpy Lion, who we just lapped, is on pause. And yeah, that's a really legit illegal overtake. We're not going to give the place back, and we'll just take the penalty, which will be a stop-go, and the time can get removed at the end of the race of 5 seconds. So yeah, there we go, there's the stop-go. But we're now up to P4 due to James binning it, and skipping on to lap 17, Azar has bottled the strategy. He came in for a set of super softs on the with 9 laps to go. Obviously he couldn't take them to the end. He was hoping it would start raining more, but it hasn't. So we're now up onto the podium in an incredible turn of events, and as you can see, Casey is just there, and we are catching up to him as we head towards Blanchimont on lap number 18. We've got a bit of a slide on in the dirty air now as we head down towards the bus stop chicane. He's run a bit deep there, he's missed the apex, but we're not close enough to get a switchback, I don't think, as we've also gone into neutral, so that's also good. So yeah, we're on the DRS now, and the question is, are we going to be able to get past him at any point in the near future? As we head down towards La Source, he's run a bit deep there. It shouldn't cost him too much though, and we're getting in the slipstream now as we head towards Eau Rouge. Not much we can do yet, but hopefully he's not as confident as we are through Eau Rouge. Almost flat out there, small lift. That was actually one of the biggest lifts I did through Eau Rouge in these conditions. But yeah, we gained a lot of time. Casey sticks it in the middle of the track, and I go around the outside as we head down towards Le Com, and that should be moved done up into P2. Huge gap to the silent mole, 25 seconds, so unless he bins it, I think he's got this race in the bag as we head through Malmedy there, and we're up into P2 as it stands. But skipping later on to the lap, we've bottled it. We've gone on the grass through Stavlo again, in case he's going to be right on the back of us. But at this point, I didn't really want to battle because Azar was mighty quick on the softs, and I had a feeling he might catch us before the end of the race as we head through Blanchimel, and Casey's backed out of that, and he's on the grass there, so we should hold it as we head into the bus stop now, and hopefully we can get that done nicely, which we can, and if we can get a good exit, we should be fine, considering how much more confident we are through our route. As you can see, the gap to Luke almost 26 seconds now due to that battling. But as you can see, skipping towards lap 22, nothing happened. We held second as, oh my word, we've almost binned it at Blanchimont, and that was a very scary moment when it actually happened. But yeah, we've actually closed down quite a lot on Luke in the 3 laps. The gap's down to about 19 seconds because he completely stopped pushing because he didn't want to die. But yeah, that's P2 for us, and a fantastic result considering where we were at the end of lap 4. So yeah, as you can see, results on screen, obviously Luke taking the win there in dominant fashion due to Azar's strategy bottle job. Myself in second, Casey in third. Azar fought back to fourth, but he has lost quite a few points in the championship. And Taylor fifth in his debut, and Jork rounding out the finishes. Not too many finishes this time, unfortunately, but I think that was due to the conditions in this race. I'm sure we will have more next time out in Monza. But yeah, as a result of Azar's poor result, I am now leading the championship by 1 point. And then Luke is a further 9 points back, I believe. But yeah, that's been it for today, guys. I'll see you next time for the Italian Grand Prix around the classic Monza circuit. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.